In Halo Wars 2, Atriox pwned all of Red Team. They were Spartan 2s, and even let them go. How the hell did that happen? So today I actually wanted to analyze this scene. I wanted to break it apart, look at it, sniff it, look it with you guys, and see if this scene was actually accurate to Halo lore. 3 Spartan 2s losing to just 1 Brute didn't make sense on paper, so let's recap their histories. Did this scene make sense to the Halo lore? And to give this scene some much proper context, we're going to go into the backgrounds of each character and the conditions of this fight and to see what exactly transpired here. It's going to be a good one, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I thought that I'd analyze this scene in Halo Wars 2 because, well, one, it's super awesome, but also because I wondered, does it hold any accuracy to the Halo lore? It's possible that it actually doesn't. If we look at the past, 343 Industries botched the Master Chief and the Agent Locke fight in Halo 5. At least most of the Halo community, including myself, believe so, which had Master Chief ultimately win, which was good, but the pace of the fight, as well as the lack of real excitement in it that most fans felt, was barely entertaining and passed as being accurate to the lore. In fact, I almost jerked off to this scene because I thought they were cuddling each other. Not that I'm gay, but okay, the point, focus on the point. Realistically, Master Chief, I would say, is about 3 times faster, smarter, and more capable than Agent Locke in almost every way. And to see him barely win a fight with a Spartan 4, and someone who is vastly less experienced, mind you, especially when John had just been emotionally triggered by Locke, well, this fight is objectively inaccurate to the lore. And the big thing we're going to tackle is, well, in Halo Wars 2, is it accurate? So we have to ask ourselves, in Halo Wars 2, should have Red Team been able to take down Atriox, or was this scene Atriox defeating 3 Spartans made purely to make a point that Atriox is a big, tough bad guy? Was this scene accurate to Halo lore? In order to find out any answers regarding that, we have to consider a few things, such as the strength and experience of all the characters in the fight, Red Team and Atriox, and give proper context and discuss the conditions of the fight, which we're going to get into next. Red Team consisted of actually over 10 different Spartans at different times, but now by March 28, 2559, as well as originally in Halo Wars 1, Red Team still only consists of Jerome, Alice, and Douglas, which were all original Spartan 2s. Leader and Commander Jerome had actually worked directly with Master Chief and Red Team at one point, and was one of the program's very best. However, Jerome, as well as Alice and Douglas, the rest of Red Team, were actually washouts, whose bodies were initially rejected by the augmentations. Augmentations being the procedure that would make the Spartans faster, smarter, and stronger, one which made many of the original Spartan recruits die. Although they were able to be retrained, built back up, and re-augmented separately, this certainly had some effect on their capability as a Spartan. Alice, like the others, was born in 2511 and adopted as she had the required genetic makeup for the Spartan 2 program. Her natural skill set wasn't actually fighting, but rather engineering, since a very young age, before she had been adopted. Regardless, she was forced through rigorous military training, and something that she actually later embraced and relished in. The last Red Team member we're going to discuss today is Douglas. As a child, he initially had a tough time adjusting to the Spartan 2 program, but despite that, it came out as a hopeful and high-faith person. But like the others, he had too been a washout that needed another dose of augmentations to fully become a Spartan. Now let's get into the brute Atriox, the leader of the Banished.
Atriox and his Banished raided Covenant resources, cutting a swath across the galaxy, growing in strength with each attack, gathering killers and mercenaries to his side.
Now he's portrayed as this behemoth, very big brute, but also very smart. But unlike most brutes that are dumb, tribal, and animalistic and rely completely on their strength, their natural strength, Atriox is sort of a beacon of hope, a potential that brutes who are otherwise very lost as a civilization, if you even want to call them a civilization. Now, Atriox is actually only a year older than any of Red Team because Spartan 2s had to be born in 2511, including Master Chief. So Atriox is actually only a year older than any of the Spartan 2s, and had actually joined the military as soon as he came of age. So like the Spartans, he started fighting very early in his life. During his Covenant service, he actually commanded First Blade of the Silent Shadow, a demon hunting division in the Covenant. Basically, they would attack the elite in the UNSC military, such as the ODSTs and the Spartans. At one point, Atriox captured 4 ODSTs in the same setting, and because of his amazing skills of being able to deal with the strongest of humanities and the UNSC's warriors, the Covenant began to put him and his tribe on the front lines. Ironically, he didn't believe the Great Journey, and found fighting humanity to be absurd, and even knew humanity was capable of much more than the Covenant gave them credit for. Before leading the Banished, Atriox had become a legend and vastly experienced in killing humans and the elite of the UNSC, as he would later go on to kill even more ODSTs. So far, we have discussed Atriox and we have discussed all of Red Team, so the last thing to discuss is the conditions of this fight and why it went the way that it did. Firstly, I'd like to ask you guys to just keep note of the pace of this fight, as it seems that 343 Industries learned a lot from when they dragged out that long, kind of lackluster and probably not very accurate to the lore fight that happened in Halo 5 with Chief and Locke. Analyzing this scene, it's super obvious that Red Team absolutely had no idea Atriox was hiding in the dark. Spartan 2 augmentations does make it possible for them to see in the dark naturally, as well as with armor, but since Atriox is known for his intelligence, and apparently his ability to hide well from Spartans, we'll mark that up to him hiding well and just being there and waiting for them. But the fact that Atriox already had known that the Spartans were coming to that location, he had set up the ambush all along, and this gave him an enormous advantage in this fight. Whereas if the room was maybe lit better, and that the Spartans had actually seen him coming, and that if Red Team was familiar with Atriox's abilities and strengths, well, I think that Red Team may have actually had a pretty good chance of fighting Atriox. Although Red Team did get a wound or two on Atriox, it just simply was not enough for him to react, let alone for him to be defeated in this fight. So in conclusion, putting all the pieces together, considering that Atriox is probably much taller and much stronger and obviously much more intelligent than other brutes, and has experience killing several ODSTs in the past, and is even capable of leading an entire armada, an entire military against the Covenant with fascinating intelligence and leadership skills, but also on top of all that, had the jump on 3 Spartan would have been washouts. It certainly makes sense that he was completely able to kill 3 Spartans by himself. So why didn't he just finish them off? Well, actually, this wasn't the first time he left his prey to rot or run away just to tease him. It's confirmed that he had actually let them leave as a show of power, probably pride as well, but also, of course, to discover where the Spartans had come from. So, does this scene make sense? Is it accurate to the Halo lore? I'm certainly no person to say absolutely yes or absolutely no, but I think it does. If 343 had done everything else wrong so far, this was one thing that made a lot of sense in their storytelling so far, and since Atriox is already propped up as this really just strong, capable, intelligent beast, yeah, I think that he could take down Red Team. But if the conditions were different and they had seen him coming, maybe things would be different here. So it really does say a lot that really Atriox, he didn't, but he was completely capable of killing 3 Spartans in this setting. And that says a lot about the power, the capability, the cunning cleverness of this character and his potential. And he's not a threat only to Master Chief, but a threat to all of Spartans, all of the UNSC and humanity. And if he has these terrorist-like goals, such as getting a Halo ring, then certainly this is someone to, be very afraid of. He's almost as much of a threat as the Covenant itself. So would have Master Chief been able to do any better in this fight than the 3 Spartan 2s could have here? Well, that's actually a really hard question to answer, and again, I'm not anyone to really say yes or no, but hopefully we will be able to find that out in Halo Infinite. I think Atriox is a character with much potential, and I would love to see him redefined a little bit in the next game and make something, make a more of an emotional impact on his fans. But nonetheless, I think it's a character that landed well overall, as well as a lot of Halo Wars 2 was welcomed by the Halo community. It seems it did well. But unfortunately, it's likely that Halo Wars 3 will never be made because there's already much concept art, leaked concept art of a canceled Halo Wars 3 game, although that could change. But as far as his role in future Halo lore, it is completely unknown, and if Halo Wars 3 is canceled, then certainly, he would have to run into some other part of the series, such as Halo Infinite. If Master Chief did run into Atriox, though, it certainly would be one hell of an exciting fight. And because I already went over this last year, I made a whole 20-something minute video about this. I won't get into the specifics. I'll leave a link to that if you want to watch that at the end of the video, or down in the description. I'll leave a link to that. But I will ask you guys in the meantime, who do you think would win between Master Chief and Atriox? Just a one-on-one fight. Who would win? I really want to hear your thoughts about that. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's accurate to the Halo lore? Would you like to see Atriox in the next big Halo game? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your feelings and thoughts about this subject. And if you have anything to add as far as anything Halo related, then be sure to let me know. Guys, this has been Ron here on HaloFollower. Be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. I sure hope you do, because we have tons of great content coming in the next weeks and months. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.